Godival. BBC Radio London.
Great to be with you this afternoon. I was just thinking about this off air, actually. Today's show, it's been a lot of arts and culture, and I love that. I think with the summer holidays here, finally on the 1st of August, I don't feel I'm jinxing London by saying it feels like summer has arrived. And we've been talking a lot about comedy. Had Frank Skinner on the show, Nish Kumar earlier, talking about theatre with Harry Potter in the West End. Well, now we turn our attention to more, and it's quite this one I'm really looking forward to, because following its acclaimed premiere at the Edinburgh Fringe and further success with a sold-out run at the Watford Fringe, my next guest play, titled Real Eyes, is making its London debut. So it's a two-man play. It covers themes including mental health, family, masculinity and more, and it's from the perspectives of two teenage boys. But rather than me kind of, reading the brief, I'm really delighted to say I'm joining the studio with writer Harrison Sharp, who also stars in the play alongside Archie Papworth, and it's coming to Camden Fringe, by the way, on the 8th and 9th of August. You can head to the website thecockpit.org.uk for more details, and then just if you really want further details, it's thecockpit.org.uk/show/real_eyes. Great to have you guys here. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
So let's delve into this then, because as I mentioned, this had its premiere at the Edinburgh Fringe. When was that then, Harrison?
That was in 2019.
Okay, nice. And then obviously life slightly changed, sadly, with the lockdowns and everything that happened with the pandemic.
It's been a long 5 years.
It has. So how does it feel for it to be having its London debut then?
Yeah, it's so exciting for me. This is a play that I wrote, and then we're performing in it together.
Yes.
But it's a lot about my own experience from when I was 17 years old. Sort of the teenage perspective.
Yeah.
And I wrote it when I was 17 years old. So it feels really personal to me. And I think that's why I wanted to come back and explore it again.
Yeah.
Since then, I've trained as an actor, so I feel like I'm more ready to put it on again and make it bigger and better than before.
Well, congratulations, because that's quite a journey, and to do something really personal, to go through that whole process, and then to now bring it to London, it's huge.
Yeah.
And Archie, let me bring you in on this. How has it been, working with Harrison? Because as you mentioned, it's really personal. So, how do you then kind of give your take in clearly what is a story that is so close to Harrison's heart, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Well, I'd like to think that we are very much brothers from other mothers,
nice.
as it were.
Nice.
And so I've sort of grown up alongside. We've probably been friends 12 plus years now.
Wow.
And so we've grown
Amazing.
up through the teenagehood that the play speaks on together. And so I like to think that I know a fair bit about the stories that he's put to paper.
So then let's delve into what we get to see with Real Eyes. Set the kind of scene, because as I mentioned, this is coming from the perspective of two teenage boys. Tell me more.
Yeah, so the play follows the story of two teenage brothers named Mikey and Matthew, who have grown up together but are living in entirely different worlds.
Okay.
One night they decide to reminisce on their memories from their upbringing, reliving their memories and sort of reflecting on them.
Yeah.
And it's sort of that nostalgic nature is juxtaposed with what the brothers are like in the modern day.
Okay.
One of the brothers is really struggling with his mental health, and the other brother is becoming increasingly involved with dealing drugs and sort of crime and sort of being out on the streets and that sort of thing. But they're sort of working through these problems together, trying to understand each other, but sometimes failing, sometimes getting through to each other. And it's just about that kind of bond of two brothers, really just talking to each other and trying to be honest.
So let me ask you this. How often is it that brothers actually do that?
Well,
because the reason I ask you that is, so my husband Sonny, there is 11 years between him and his brother. And actually, Sonny will always say he's more like a second dad than a brother.
Nice.
But in the 20 years that I've been with my partner, I've never really seen them kind of unpack their emotional history, things that they're going through. So I quite like this whole concept, to be able to see on stage two brothers unpacking it. But how do you portray that is my question, I guess, Archie, with this concept, as Harrison said, that it's intense. It's a moving story, but they are teenage brothers and they're growing up. And there's a lot of angst that comes with that, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, so the set is entirely a boy's bedroom.
Nice. Tons of mess, loads of clothes.
Everything everywhere.
I have a younger brother, so I know what that's like. Yeah.
And it's a bright red bunk bed that sits at the back of the stage, and it's that provides the intensity. We're creating all of our memories that we've ever shared together, the ones we've not told each other about that we are now expressing to each other, all in a boy's bedroom. And it always maintains that feeling of, well, we should be safe because we're in this bedroom. That's where everyone should feel safe.
Yeah.
And yet we don't.
That's not always the case.
Yeah.
How important was it for you, Harrison, to delve into a lot of these? The subject matter of the play. There's a lot to discuss, whether it's masculinity, sexuality, mental health, and crime. How did you, during the writing process, how did you kind of unpack that? Because it clearly, what from my understanding with this play is the audience is going to be sucked into this world and be very much a part of these two brothers and in this moment. How did you kind of put that pen to paper, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it was tough. It's a lot of personal feelings that go into it.
Yeah.
But I think I just felt like I had to draw it out of myself. Like I had a gut feeling that a lot of these thoughts and these thoughts I was having at the time, I think are interesting because at that age when you're a teenager, the stakes are so high. Everything, little things,
everything's intense.
Yeah, so intense. Little things like, is my crush going to text me back, or am I going to get picked in the football team?
Yeah.
Everything feels so large. And then it just feels like it feels right in the context of a play to kind of crisscross that with deeper questions about what am I going to do with my life? How am I going to transition to the next stage of becoming a young adult?
Yeah.
Where do my values lie? And, who do I really respect and care for? There's a lot going on in your head at that time.
Yeah.
And I think it's so relevant, it's endlessly relevant because there's always going to be kids who are having these kind of thoughts and going through this on their own. And I'm hoping that, at least a few can turn up and feel a bit represented.
100%. And I also feel like, as I mentioned earlier, it's the summer break, summer holidays. It's also if there are particular parents who want to bring, their teenagers who have got that angst. Yeah. Sometimes I think, the beauty of arts, of culture, of theatre is it can be thought provoking. It gets you to actually have those conversations. It can be a conversation starter, whereby you may not know quite how to approach a conversation or a topic like mental health.
Yeah.
With your 17-year-old who otherwise is neck deep in their phone or on Twitch or whatever it is doing nowadays. Did you incorporate that, by the way, kind of social media within it?
Yeah, increasingly actually. That's one of the things that's changed since our first production.
Okay.
We've sort of tried to enter, we've said it a few years after we originally said it, to try and incorporate some more relevant topics like social media influence and TikTok and that kind of thing, but also the impact of COVID and how that has impacted young people.
It's massively, hasn't it?
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't get talked about, but
kind of like when you were doing that research, kind of bringing that in, what has been the key impact? I only come at this from the angle of I've got a 17-year-old niece and a 15-year-old nephew who they're like my second kids basically, and they will kind of say to me that people don't realise get a lot of social anxiety from the COVID days to how it is now. Yeah,
definitely. I know a lot of people my age who still struggle with that kind of being around a lot of people all the time. It's something, COVID for us took up a bigger chunk of our lives than adults.
And the formative years.
Yeah. Time where we're supposed to really be out there and exploring ourselves and, partying and stuff, for a couple of years it was just absent. So it definitely had an impact, I find. And
then, so bringing this to London, Archie, how do you feel? Because London audiences, we are, I think, the most honest. If we love you, we're with you. If we're not, you'll know. Do you know what I mean? How are you feeling? I'm sure this must be a conversation you and Harrison have been having ahead of the shows next week.
Yeah, well, it's this is what makes it different to the Edinburgh Fringe. The Edinburgh Fringe feels like a holiday for theatre goers. When we're there, it feels like feels like the population
people
has
are there to have fun.
people have swarmed there to see theatre.
Sure.
Whereas this feels more like we want to try and get people in after work.
Got you.
Or they've just picked up kids from school and they want to bring them along. It's a different style of entertainment in that respect. We're opening our lives as actors, as performers on the stage, to other people with their lives as well to come in and view it.
Well, as I said earlier, it received rave reviews, and as such, it's fantastic that it's going to be here in London. It's Thursday the 8th and Friday the 9th of August, 7 p.m. And you can go to thecockpit.org.uk for more details. People can find you both as well, Harrison and Archie, on Instagram, can't they?
Yeah, correct.
So I love the fact that you've taken your childhood friendship and now made it like business. How does that work, I wonder?
We love it.
Yeah,
do you?
Love it.
It's brilliant.
Great.
No, but hold on. How do you like differentiate between being mates, do you know what I mean? Like two lads, and now having business talks and, because yes, we can talk about the art, the theatre, but, business, work is work, and there is the business, the entertainment business for a reason. That's what it's called that.
Yeah, I think it comes from the fact that we've grown up in theatre together, shared that passion. And so we kind of very often align our thoughts. Like we both, it's very rare that I would come up with an idea or Haz would come up with an idea. Sorry, Harrison.
I can call you Haz, I don't mind.
Whatever, any of the above.
Yeah, cool.
It's very rare that either of us would come up with an idea and the other person wouldn't agree.
Okay.
We seem to have just grown a wavelength, and that helps in business and in friendship as well.
Do you know, hold on to that, guys, because it's so vitally important, honestly. And what are the hopes, Harrison, for the show? Because obviously it's on next week, 8th and 9th of August at the Cockpit Theatre. Are you hopeful to do more shows and tour this?
Yeah, we'd love to. I think, this year, this has been our focus. The kind of the revival at the Camden Fringe has been the focus, but we'd love to do more with it. We'd love to take it to some more theatres, get more young audiences in, see if there are some schools that might be interested in coming to see it and that kind of thing, because that feels really important for us and for the subject of the play.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'd love to follow the journey. You have to keep in touch. Will you come back and let me know?
Definitely.
It'd be really nice to have you guys back and see how it goes. So let me give the details. Harrison and Archie on Instagram, and then to see the show, it's called Real Eyes. It's on at the Cockpit. So really simple, at the Cockpit Theatre. Just go to the website. As I mentioned earlier, it's part of Camden Fringe. 8th and 9th of August, thecockpit.org.uk/show/real_eyes. So lovely having you both here. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Again, guys. And you come back, I want to hear on the next dates. Can't wait.